You don't build healthy relationships by accident. You grow into them. Hi, and welcome to this live session. Whether you're watching this video live with me or you're watching a replay of this video, I would like for you to know one thing. This conversation is for you. Yes, it's for you. Through the month of February, we'll be talking about healing. We'll be talking about alignment. We'll be talking about healthy relationships. But today we want to start with the foundation. I believe this is the foundation and a fundamental bedrock to every relationship you ever experience. And this also will determine the extent to which you enjoy any and every relationship. One of the best and the non-negotiable relationships that you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. Yes, with yourself. If you don't know who you are, if you don't have an idea of what it feels like to have a firm working relationship with yourself, you'll end up negotiating your worth in everyone, with everyone, and in every circle. Every relationship you'll ever have is filtered through the one you have with yourself. So before we continue, let's set a few expectations. Number one, growth is not comfortable. Growth will never be comfortable. And no one ever grows with only within the boundaries of their comfort. As a matter of fact, the comfort that you have set around yourself may be a major impediment, an obstacle, and a major blind spot for how much you can grow and how far you can reach. 2, reflection is required, all right? You don't just listen. I want you to participate. I want you to participate in your own growth. I want you to be intentional about your own growth. 3, in this zone, there's no blame game here. We are never going to blame you for the current places and the current spot where you are. However, you are absolutely responsible for what your life will look like after this video. So we're only here to raise awareness. Awareness helps you to understand what you need to change, what you need to learn, what you need to relearn, and what you need to unlearn. So let me know in the live chat if you're watching this live or you're watching a replay. And if this message resonates with you, could you kindly share the video with your friends? I encourage you to share them, please, because it helps this teaching reach others who need it. To understand why some relationships feel strained, confusing, repetitive, we must examine how we relate with ourselves. And there are 4 things that you must look at and these 4 things are the things that shape every external relationship that you have. The first thing is identity. I cannot stress this enough. Identity, identity, identity. Yes, somebody type it in the chat, identity. Scream it on top of your voices, identity. Yes, identity. Identity begs the question, who am I? Yes, in the stillness of the noise and the ravings on social media and every platform, life begs the question of who you really are. So who am I is a fundamental question that every person who is seeking growth, who is seeking a healthy relationship must ask themselves. So ask yourself right now, who am I? Who am I when no one is affirming me? Who am I without applause? Who am I without productivity? Yes, when you're doing nothing, when you don't feel needed, who are you really? Who am I when I'm not in the place where people give me the tags achiever, peacemaker, strong one, helper, supporter, my number one fan, and all the fun tags that come with you? The reason you have to ask yourself, who are you without all the noise, is because roles are temporary. Yes, but identity, that's permanent. That's fundamental. You must ask yourself, who am I? With all the people who share opinions on social media, like I'm doing right now, who am I? Am I, one moment we're dancing to the tune of a popular opinion, in another moment we're dancing to the tune of another, and we end up confusing our opinions with the loudest voices. So I want to ask you again, who are you really? When identity is unclear, relationships become places of performance rather than connection. We'll base off of our relationship based on what we heard today on TikTok. There is a very good chance you're going to base your relationship on the opinions that you heard just recently through somebody's 15 seconds reel, and which is not reality. So you need to ask yourself, in spite of all the noises, who am I? Okay, let's talk about the second fundamental truth that forms the bedrock of a personal relationship. That's emotional awareness. Yes. Can I name what I feel? Because emotional awareness is a skill of naming what you feel without judging yourself. Do I suppress my emotions to stay strong? Do I react emotionally just because I didn't really process them? We have been told through every platform that ever exists or existed, even in animations for children, there are only 5 types of emotions. One is anger. The second one is fear. The third one is sadness. Oh, and there's joy, by the way. And then there's disgust. After all of these things, maybe I missed the 5th one. You can put it in the chat. If you know the show inside out, just put the 5th emotions there in the comment section for us to read. Yes, but underneath those is a mix of anger and fear, anger or sadness. When I feel angry and I feel stuck at the same time, that's frustration. There are layers under those major emotions that we all know that really dictate how we feel and how we relate with other people around us. For example, do I transfer aggression just because I don't know how well to manage my emotions? Do I blame it on other people? Let me tell you something. Unacknowledged emotions don't disappear. They look for loopholes and leakages to express themselves. So knowing what I feel in a moment and how I feel per second will help me to know how to channel that emotion and help me to know how to speak out and help me to communicate better with myself and with the people around me. So you can't communicate what you haven't allowed yourself to feel. And remember, in the previous video we said it's okay to feel the loss and the grief that comes from a loss, but it's not okay for you to make the grief that comes from a loss your identity. The third thing that forms the bedrock of the foundation you have with yourself is boundaries. Somebody say boundaries. Yes, boundaries. Boundaries are clarity. They are not rejection. Boundaries ask these fundamental questions. Do I say yes to avoid discomfort? Are you a yes person, a yes girl? Everyone knows you. Or a yes man? Everyone knows that you hardly can say no to the things that bring discomfort to you or make you feel unsafe. Do I feel guilty for saying no? Do I confuse access with love I don't want to lose the access that I have to these people, to this person, and I always have to give in to whatever they tell me or whatever they ask me to do. When boundaries are missing, resentment definitely grows. All right? When you lose boundaries, resentment grows. And resentment eventually damages relationships. So, boundaries don't push people away. They teach people how to stay in your life respectfully. Let me say that again. Boundaries do not push people away. They teach people how to stay in your life respectfully. I hope you've been learning something so far. Let's go to the fourth and most important point for tonight or today, depending on the time that you're watching this from. Self-trust. Say it again. Self-trust. Self-trust is your ability to listen to yourself and to take yourself seriously. Someone needs to begin to take himself or herself seriously after this video. Did I miss or did I dismiss my instincts? Do I override my needs to keep the peace? Do I look at others for permission to be myself? Do I look for validation outside of this very present body? When self-trust is broken, you keep abandoning yourself, hoping someone else will choose you. I'm about to break it to you. And nobody gonna choose you except you choose yourself first. All right? So the way you treat yourself is the way you teach people to treat you. The way you treat yourself is the way you teach people to treat you. And this is where I want you to pause and not click away, not multitask, but reflect. So why don't you grab a note or just sit with these questions? What is one area where I keep shrinking? What is one boundary that I keep crossing? And what is one truth about myself that I keep avoiding? Maybe it's something that everyone has said about you, but you don't think it's true, or you just dismiss it. It's time for you to sit, to reflect, and make a change. So this isn't about fixing everything today. It's not about fixing everything in an instant. If you've watched my previous videos, I've told you that growth is never fast. Growth is slow and steady and consistent. So this is about seeing things clearly. This is not about you feeling judged and all those things that come with denying a need for growth. So can you put it in the chat? If you're comfortable, can you type in one word that describes how you currently treat yourself? And yes, I'm taking note of everything that you're saying. I'm reading through them right now. What is that one thing that you do that makes you know how you treat yourself? Do you feel like you're the doormat that everyone has to walk over? And sometimes we feel like we are the only person who is worth the center of attraction. But that's not what a healthy relationship looks like. That is also a yearning in the heart, and that looks like self-abandonment. We don't want to feel like we're not present or accepted. It's begging for acceptance. That's not what we're talking about today. So here is what happens when these layers are neglected. Unclear identity will lead to validation chasing. I just told you about that. Low emotional awareness will lead to emotional reactions. Oh, everyone has to know that you're angry. Everyone has to know that you're feeling sad. Everyone has to know it and feel it. But that's not how life works. Weak boundaries will lead to resentment. You keep saying yes and yes and yes. neglecting the truth and the fact that your body needs you to take a pause. Now, broken self-trust will lead to self-abandonment. However, healthy relationships don't begin by finding better people. Oh, it's not about finding the better half. They begin with becoming more aware of who you are. They begin with becoming more self-aware. You don't attract what you want. You will always attract your kind, and you will always attract what you're willing to tolerate. If this session stirred something in you, that's not failure, that's awakening. And you are not broken, you're becoming aware. And awareness is where healing begins. So say with me, I choose honesty over comfort. I choose self-respect over self-abandonment. And I choose growth over avoidance. If you have not learned or heard anything from me today, the most important question that you must ask yourself is the question of who am I? Who am I when no one is watching? Who am I in the face of the noise from the media? Who am I in the voice and outside of the voice of the influencers, the social media, the bloggers, the commentators, and everyone else? Remember this popular saying, a person seems right until he is cross-examined. So one person whose voice is louder in social media, their opinion seems right, their opinion sounds right, unless you check yourself and have a firm rooting for yourself and a deep root of your person, of who you are, you will almost always go with everyone's opinion. And so in the next session, we will explore how this inner foundation shows up in your friendships, shows up in your family, shows up in your romantic relationship, and why patterns repeat awareness until awareness interrupts them. So thank you again for spending this time intentionally, and I'll see you in the next live. Ciao, bye.